Well, a few years ago, one of our World War II vets died, and I got to know him fairly well. He was a Marine in the World War II, and he was part of the lead TACA forces, U.S. forces, to take back the island of Iwo Jima. And if any of you are World War II buffs, this was a brutal battle, and the Japanese were very dug in at this time. Anyway, he's part of those forces, and as he came ashore and began his fighting, a grenade fell behind him and took him out, and left him incapacitated, lying there on the beach. And he lay there for quite some time. The battle, of course, progressed inward slowly, and finally one of his Navy buddies was worried about it and had the time and space to actually go and begin to look for him. And he found him there on the beach, still incapacitated, and he literally carried him back to a ship into medical care, and our World War II Marine survives it all, of course, lived to old age. And I bring that up because I was talking to him one of these back a bit, and he told me this. He says, "Pastor, I don't believe in hell in the afterlife, but I've been through it here." And I thought about that. I've been through it here. There are times in this life that are like hell, that fiery furnace comes for us. And with that, let's look at this story from Daniel with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. This is the low point of God's people's history. The Babylonians had come into Judah and destroyed it, killed most of the people. So it was just devastating. They wiped out Jerusalem, and the temple of the Most High God was completely destroyed. And wasn't going well. The remnant of people, the best and brightest, were hauled back basically as spoils of the war, as trophies, but also to serve and benefit the glory of the great nation of Babylon. And so these three were doing that. They were serving the great nation of Babylon as they could. And the king of Babylon, Nebuchadnezzar, decides he's going to do this little thing of make that golden statue that I showed to the kids there. And he puts up this 90-foot golden statue, this huge thing. And he wants all, particularly his leaders, the governors, the satraps, the prefects, how it goes on and on about that stuff, to come and bow when the music plays, to show their loyalty, isn't it? It's a test of loyalty at that moment. That they are in. The interesting thing, it never tells you what the image of the statue is. It never describes it or says, oh, it's an image of the king, it's an image of a god, or anything else. And I kind of like that because in that time period, you have to remember, all that kind of melds together. The glory of the nation, their gods, and the king, it's all kind of one thing anyway. So to bow down, for them to bow down to the statue is really them bowing down, if you will, to a divinely infused nationalistic symbol of the nation of Babylon, that's what they're doing. He wants them to show their loyalty to them all. And, of course, these three faithful ones from the tribe of Judah, the God's people, said, we're not going to do that. They know the first commandment. I am the Lord your God. You shall have no other gods before me. And they were going to follow it. They tell the king they're going to follow it even though he's in a rage. And say, well, if God saves us, so be it. If not, so be it. They committed their lives to God and knew the consequences of this fiery furnace. And, of course, the king throws them in. And he looks in there and finds there's 4 people, and they're walking around in there. And he calls them back out. And he finds that not even their tunics are singed, their hair is fine, and they don't even smell of smoke. That God had saved them. God has sent some angel in there to save them. And then the king hails the God, the Most High God of the Jewish people, and says people need to respect this God, to give honor to this God. And so that's our story. What is helpful to understand is a few background stories or a few background understandings to it. And the first one is this. That in the ancient world, how your nation is doing was seen as a statement of the power of your God or gods. So how you're all doing is a statement of the power of your gods. So for instance, when Babylon came to fight Judah there, it was not just a fight between people. They really understood it as a fight between the gods. And the one with the strongest gods was the winner. Well, that was Babylon. It was not just a winner. They crushed Jerusalem, destroyed the temple of the Most High God. It wasn't the Most High God, right? It was a weak God before the Babylonian army. And the same applied to even things like success and prosperity. that you could know the strength of your God by how well you're doing in the world. And so Babylon was this fabulous city. So all this remnant of God's people are dragged to this fabulous city. Way better than anything they had in Jerusalem. In fact, they had one of the 7 wonders of the world there in Babylon. It was called the Hanging Gardens. And so they're going to this glorious and beautiful, wondrous, powerful nation. And surely the gods of Babylon are then these powerful and amazing gods. And it seemed their God was weak. Their God didn't come through. They weren't prosperous. They were servants. They had lost the battles. Their God was weak. So you can just feel the pressure on God's people to cave and come and just basically assimilate into the Babylonian nation, to bend their knee to the golden 90-foot statue. That's what it's about, isn't it? It's saying, this is where I belong. This is who I'm going after. This wonder and glory of Babylon, that's where my heart is, all that good stuff. So you can feel the pressure for God's people and how this story would tell them, hold it, God is still God, even in the face of these powerful lands. And the second thing I think is helpful to understand about this is that the fundamental, if you will, theology or belief of the God's people, the Jews, was often this. And it really relates to the first one. And that is that if you are faithful to God, you are going to be blessed in this world. So if you are faithful to God, you are going to get success in your life. You're going to have prosperity. You're going to be healthy. Things are going to go your way. And there's truth to that. There's a lot of truth to that. And we run with a very similar idea. That is, if we work hard and make good decisions, things should go our way in this world. We should have some success and prosperity, things. We have to believe it, or why bother try? Well, the Jews kind of had their own kind of religious version of all that in this belief. But the problem is it can't be the only belief, can it? Because it doesn't always work out that way. It never has. And that's what they were struggling with back then. And here we have these 3 faithful people living right by God, honorable people. And what happens? They get the fiery furnace. That they are faithful and they're punished for it. I mean, Job was faithful and he was punished, but he wasn't because he was faithful so much. It was just a test. But these guys are faithful and they're punished for it. It just goes against the grain, and you can feel how they needed this second understanding in their theology to help them, integrate a life under the power of other nations, to being servants, to being powerless often, that God was still there for them. Because God sent his angel into the fiery furnace, into their hell on earth, and saves them. That God comes through for God's people even when it goes badly. And of course, all this really comes forward again in Jesus. Jesus always assumed that if he lived the way that God wanted him to live and loved people and cared for the least ones and went out of his way, that the leaders wouldn't like it. That he would meet opposition and they would kill him for it. His cross is his fiery furnace. And we believe that God led him through that as well, to the other side. So we are people who say in this Advent season, Emmanuel, God is with us. If you walk away with something today, I hope it's that you see God as with you. And it may not be some mystical angel in a fiery furnace directly. It may be a Navy buddy who comes searching for you. I bet if you look at the fiery furnaces you've been there's been somebody of yours, somebody there that has helped you get through it. That God's angels are still here. That God's presence is working through community, through friendships, through the life of faith to support you in whatever you're dealing with. The angels of God might be much closer than you think, that you might see that. We're going to sing this hymn, O Come, Emmanuel. And on the first level, of course, that hymn is we look out in the world, it's not all we want it to be. There's plenty of war, there's starvation, there's all these things wrong in the world that we're very concerned about, things going in bad directions. O come, Emmanuel, and we hope that he will come, ransom captive Israel, save us as God's people, come through for us in the face of death or whatever else. O come here in some big way and just change the nature of this world and make it a better place. But I want to say we sing it also on a second level. So as you sing it, think of this level. That God would open your eyes to faith to the Emmanuel who is already present. Emmanuel who is already God with us and around you. And that you might be able to trust those around you and see that God is working in your life, not just for some future better day, but also in this time and place. Emmanuel, this Advent. God is with you. Hold it this week. Let it be there for you. And let your eyes open up and maybe see a little more deeply God with you. Amen. So we'll we'll join in the hymn, O Come, Emmanuel. It's 257, and we'll only do 3 verses, 1, 4, and 6. So you're going to have to jump around. 1, 4, and 6.